Cecil Stedman is a key character in Invincible, serving as the director of the Global Defense Agency. A cold, pragmatic strategist, he operates in the shadows to protect Earth from superhuman threats, often making morally great decisions for the greater good. His sharp mind, unshakable resolve, and willingness to make tough calls makes him one of the most complex figures in the series. However, his willingness to recruit past villains, giving them a second chance in exchange for their service rather than punishing them, puts him at odds with Invincible. To truly understand Cecil's relentless commitment to protecting Earth, we have to look at his past. His origin story begins with Britt, another hero from the Image Comics universe, whose powers make him actually invincible, breaking into a facility where Cecil has seemingly been captured. At this point, Cecil is still a field agent working for the GDA and is tied to a set of green canisters filled with an unknown bioweapon created by two supervillains known as the Order of the Freeing Fist. When Britt breaks into the room in an attempt to stop them, she orders her partner to detonate the canisters even though they are within its range. The gas, Chemical X, is released into the room and starts to disintegrate the bodies of the villains who claim that they will spark a revolution and teach this generation to live life to its fullest. After the chemical turns the city into a wasteland, Britt, who is unaffected by the gas, shoves them out of the way and tries to save Cecil, whose skin is also melting off, calling the GDA for help as Cecil's face starts to disintegrate. Weeks later, at an agency hospital, Britt visits a recovering Cecil who's just been released, and the first thing Cecil asks about is how many lives they lost when the chemical went off. Britt then questions why Cecil left a scar on his face when the artificial skin he was given as part of the reconstructive surgery could have easily covered it, but Cecil responds that it was the only salvageable patch of his own skin that he kept as a reminder of the time he failed and people died because of it, vowing to never let this happen again. Years later, when the Lizard League invades the Pentagon, Cecil is seen carrying Director Radcliffe to safety, but they are chased down by a Komodo dragon, who easily tanks the bullets coming out of Cecil's gun, which bounce right off his skin. They are then saved by the same two members from the Order of the Freeing Fist that are somehow alive, as Radcliffe reveals he faked their deaths and had them join his own personal guard. They overpower Komodo Dragon, but Cecil displays a similar mentality to Mark in the present, angry that they did not receive the proper punishment for their crimes, and chooses to take it into his own hands, shooting both members before Radcliffe can even react. But there was another party that witnessed this execution, the original members of the Guardians of the Globe led by the Immortal, who have no choice but to arrest their old friend for this crime. Months later, at the penitentiary that Cecil has been confined to, he is visited by Director Radcliffe, who announces he will be stepping down as the head of the GDA to pursue a side project that directly relates to the origins of Rexplode. Radcliffe plans to name Cecil as his successor, dropping the line, "You can be the good guy, or you can be the guy who saved the world." A year later, Director Stedman faces his first true test as their surveillance comes across Nolan, who had just arrived on Earth battling it out with a kaiju. Cecil chooses to go meet Nolan on his own and introduces himself as the head of the Global Defense Agency, in charge of keeping the planet safe. Nolan claims he is also here to protect Earth and wants to understand the customs of its people, so Cecil invites him back to the Pentagon. Hours later, as Nolan flies out of the Pentagon, Cecil is briefed by an agent that reveals that they were tracking Nolan's vitals during their entire conversation and can confirm he is lying about Viltrum, and more specifically his mission to aid the planet. Even with this information, Cecil does not plan to act against Nolan, but rather use him for their own interests, maintaining that he would make a deal with the devil if it meant the safety of the planet.